All right, Maine. Good news, Maine. All the shenanigans are over, and Governor LePage has finally signed the proclamation verifying the results of November ballot question on recreational use of marijuana, and Mainers will be able to legally possess and grow the drug January 30th. But like a lot of other places and a lot of other times when marijuana was legalized for whatever reason, no sales. We'll talk about that later, maybe. Uh, it's a little different than everybody else, where there's actually like a trigger date where there might be sales or there might not be. This is a totally different situation. We'll go through it. All right, there will be no place to legally purchase until lawmakers and state officials set up the regulatory program and establish rules for retail sales, a process that could take 9 months or more. So it's going to be 2018 before you actually see a store open selling marijuana. I'm going to guess. LePage confirmed the proclamation Tuesday during a talk show on WVOM radio in Bangor, but he also called on the legislature to place a moratorium on the sale of marijuana, which voters approved by a narrow margin until lawmakers could work out all the details, including providing funding to set up a regulatory framework for legal sales. This is deja vu. I think it was Florida, same thing. In the moratorium things, same thing with other states that have legalized recreational or medical marijuana. There's already things in the law that just passed that says, oh, we got to make sure that the local ordinances are okay and you get them and you pay your fees to them and all that before you can open up one of these businesses. Sounds reasonable. I mean, what are they afraid of? The free market? Like people are just going to open marijuana businesses without framework, without local ordinances, without the Chamber of Commerce saying, okay, here's your business license and here's your zoning permits. Are you fucking curious? It's not the Wild West. I mean, you can't just go out there and open up a liquor store on the corner either, or you can't just go over there and open up a baseball card store or whatever. You can't just open up a store doing anything anywhere without fucking going through the local shit. So, man, LePage and all these right-wingers always do this. They're always, oh, well, moratorium. We got to stop people from doing something before it's even possible to do it. It's just dumb, man. All right, under the new law, adults 21 and older will be allowed to possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana or grow up to 6 plants. So there's your answer for 9 months before you'll see any legislation that even has the sale going. Everybody should know somebody that can grow pretty decent, and 6 plants is okay. I think everybody will be all right. The page issued the proclamation Saturday. The law goes into effect 30 days later, which is January 30th. Please don't let me hear a bunch of fucking reports coming from Maine about how the cops were just arresting people willy-nilly between now and the end of the month because, it's still illegal to have up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana or growing any amount of plants. And by the way, there's this other thing I've been reading about lately with all these states legalizing medical and recreational marijuana. It's still illegal to sell it. So technically you can't get a seed or a fucking clone because it's marijuana. The federal law says a seed is a fucking marijuana. Every part of the plant is marijuana. The fucking root is marijuana. A clone is marijuana. In Michigan, a clone is a plant. It can get counted in your plant count. So I don't know where they're going to get all these marijuana plants started at. Of course you can find a bag of fucking weed on the street with some seeds in it, but apparently that's not legal to sell. So the person selling that is breaking the law. And that's the problem with all these laws that don't have regulatory setup in play. And they're just like, oh, we're not going to do anything in between now and then. We're not going to give you any options except for going to the street. This is fucking stupid. And they all have the DEA back there saying, don't worry, no one can drive across the state line with it, so you're good. We got to deschedule marijuana, people. I don't say that often enough because I think I say it too much, but I really don't. I mean, that's really the cause of a lot of headaches for a lot of these regulations on the state level, is that the feds are still in the fucking Stone Age. Commercial sale of the drug will be regulated by the Maine Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry. Weird move there. Hopefully that means farm stands on the side of the road and farmers market. I don't know, man. I don't know why you'd do it like that. Most states have set up their own medical marijuana or marijuana regulatory body within the state government because that's going to be their specialty. You know, the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, marijuana growing and regulating commercial sale of doesn't really sound like it's in their fucking lane, man. Opponents of the ballot question had requested a recount, which was approved by a 4,000 vote margin, but the recount was halted in December when it appeared there would be no significant change in the results. But nonetheless, the recount still wasted a shitload of money and time. Thank you again, right-wingers, who just can't seem to accept fucking reality when it comes to marijuana laws changing. And that goes for the police, and that goes for the fucking government. You guys just hate it when this shit happens. I don't understand why you think that you still have authority in this area. Just stop already, man. It's recount. That's the ultimate sign of sore loserdom, you know. I mean, and yeah, Jill Stein doing that recount in Michigan and all that shit. That was some fucking stupid bullshit. It didn't prove nothing, and it didn't tell anybody anything that we didn't already know. There's nothing I can do until the legislature gives me money to set up the infrastructure, LePage said. So Tuesday he said that he needs the legislature to provide funding to the Agriculture Department in order for him to move forward and establish the agency to regulate the sale of marijuana in Maine. LePage also said he believed in a moratorium, or the moratorium would be appropriate so lawmakers can determine if Maine's medical marijuana laws would still be necessary once recreational marijuana is being sold over the counter. Let me just go ahead and say, yeah, they're different. And how are you going to make your discern between recreational sales and medical sales? LePage says, that concerns me, pointing to Colorado, which he said saw an increase in medical marijuana patients after that state also legalized recreational marijuana. Come on, I see where he's going with this. So, you know, you got less people paying taxes because they're getting the medical marijuana. So, dude, just give it up, man. Get a fucking clue, all right? Again, your medical marijuana program over there in Maine is pretty lame and restrictive, and I don't know. I don't really see it growing. The reason more people started getting patient cards in Colorado is because it's medicine, and people start to realize, they start seeing it working for their friends and their family, and then they're like, well, maybe I should try this out. I'm kind of done with this article, man. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here worth mentioning. But yeah, he's worried that, you know, Colorado residents were applying for medical marijuana permits in order to avoid the sales tax on recreational. Can you blame them? Which was being paid for largely by tourists. Did you hear Colorado say anything about how they're hurting for fucking marijuana taxes? Nope. Do you see how they're giving people their money back that paid taxes because they don't even need it after taxing people for recreational marijuana? Exactly. So, LePage, you're just, like you always do, you're just making shit up. You're just pulling fucking shit out of your hat. And your hat is your ass. So quit being an ass hat. I mean, this is a guy that wants to bring back the guillotine to kill drug dealers to send a message. This is a guy that says that the heroin dealers from Boston and New York are coming up to Maine and impregnating the white girls while they, you know, get all your fucking sons addicted to heroin. So this guy's a fucking idiot. He's a fucking ass hat, right-wing fucking douche nozzle. Every policy he has is completely like pro-corporate and anti-people. And this shit's no different, man. Now, they have actual numbers on this Colorado thing. And as it turns out, there's not more medical marijuana patients in Colorado. There's actually about 6,000 less since recreational has passed. This is the difference between now and 2013. So, what the fuck? Like I said, he just pulls this shit right out of his ass hat. Put your ass hat back on or your head back up your ass so we don't got to hear you, man. You're so stupid, LePage. He also took a shot at recreational marijuana advocate Paul McCarrier, saying his estimate on the amount of tax revenue the state would collect from legalized marijuana were off the mark by a long shot. McCarrier earlier told WVOM that Maine could collect as much as $200 million a year in tax revenue from the sales of marijuana and related products by 2020. It sounds like a conservative estimate. Unless by conservative you mean a fucking asshat right-winger like LePage. And he says, my response to that is, he's smoking. That's a funny, I love how right-wingers always use, you're smoking, you're high, you know, they always make it so that, you know, they shame you because automatically you don't know what the fuck you're talking about because you smoke marijuana. Hey, dipshit, I know way more than what the fuck you know, and I smoke tons of marijuana, all right? We've got 1.3 million people, so 1.3 million people are going to smoke and tax up as much as $200 million. The guy is smoking. I'm telling you, he is out in left field. We don't make that off of liquor, and liquor's been around a heck of a lot longer. Well, the difference between liquor and marijuana is, I don't know, liquor is stupid. Liquor. We got 1.3 million people. So I don't know what your assumption is on what 1.3 million people smoking marijuana. 200 million in taxes. You're acting like that's 1 to 200. Like one person isn't going to pay $200 in taxes on something that they buy over a year's period of time. Your numbers don't add up, bro. Your numbers are cooked big time. But 200 million, like I said, sounds like a pretty reasonable number. In case you don't know why, have you checked the price of marijuana products? They're pretty expensive, man. When you start taxing that shit, taxes come in pretty fast. Just ask Colorado. You know, why don't you just look at how many people they got? They don't got a whole lot fucking more than you, man. It ain't like Colorado is this California kind of place where half the fucking world lives. It's small. It's like Maine. Maybe a little bigger than Maine. Anyway, David Boyer, spokesman for the campaign to regulate marijuana like alcohol, said the Maine political director for the Marijuana Policy Project said LePage may have misunderstood McCarrier's statement about the $200 million potential revenue for Maine. Boyer said that the number represents potential total sales and revenue, not taxes. I would argue that the tax number is probably somewhere between 50 and 100. All right, and your actual revenue is going to be in the 500 million range for a place populated like Maine and located in the middle of fucking nowhere like Maine. So they're not going to make hand over fist money. It's not going to be like whatever, but for the population numbers and for what's going on, I think they're still going to be doing okay. They're not going to be complaining. Let's just check back in a year, all right? Because fuck LePage. I don't even know. Hopefully he's gone in a couple of years or sooner. He said Colorado, which has 5 times as many more people as Maine, there you have it, recorded about $1 billion in sales in 2016. So his numbers are based on Colorado number comparisons, like LePage didn't do. There's no legislative consensus on this moratorium bullshit, and there shouldn't be. I mean, come on, no one cares. And it already says in the law. All right, so there's other places where you can make reasonable changes in the law, such as banning edibles that might be tempting to children or giving regulatory authority to the state agency to oversee liquor sales. See, that's the thing, is they basically can do these things already. You don't have to have special moratoriums and special privileges invented to do what you can already do. All right, how much time to devise the regulations? We already heard that. They got till June. I mean, it's about from November. You don't got that much time, man. Less than 6 months, 9 months isn't enough. And they're saying it's a huge... All right, let's run this back. Scott Gagnon, a spokesman for Mainers Protecting Our Young and Communities, And his group supports LePage's call for a moratorium. There's reality is this is a huge cultural change, but it's also a big change that requires new systems and state local level controls. 9 months simply will not be enough time to get everything we need in place to migrate the risks and harms that this will pose to our youth and communities. Shut up. This is so stupid, man. There is no risk to the youth and communities. The youth was at risk before this because they were getting fucking criminally charged for marijuana. So I'm done with Maine. I'm done with LePage. He is just one of the worst right-wing fuckers on the prohibition of marijuana scale. He is evil Satan, hellspawn, cacodemon, if you know what all those are. So that's LePage in a nutshell. The guy is an idiot, pure and simple, a fucking idiot. And this group, Mainers Protecting Our Youth and Communities, was the very group spewing the fucking propaganda from the right field, from Wingnut City, about how it's the gateway drug and how they're going to have pot shops everywhere and how fucking drug driving is going to start, killing everybody. Now guess what, Maine and LePage? Now you're going to have to deal with it. Now you're going to have to sell people marijuana and collect fucking taxes. Ooh, and guess what, cops in Maine? You don't get to fucking arrest Smokey Jim for fucking selling marijuana to your daughter.